This is Joe Mullings, and I am in 190 Studios, and I am beyond excited to have a dear friend and somebody I respect out of the headhunting business in studio today. Bert Miller, the CEO and owner of MRI. Bert, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Good to be here. Interesting times.
Interesting times for sure. And, Bert and I were waxing about it earlier on in. 20 plus years ago, we were two young studs within the MRI network, bitching and complaining about where that industry should go at that point in time. And here you are now leading that company and painting the way.
You're leading as well, so that's why I'm here.
Yeah, thanks. So we are chatting from the Delray Studios, and Bert, you are now in Fort Lauderdale as a corporate headquarters. Is that right?
Yeah, if we go back and look at a little history, MRI was founded, HQ was founded in Cleveland by Alan R. Schoenberg, 1965. In 2003, moved to Philadelphia. CDI acquired MRI in 1972, and so they eventually moved the headquarters to Philadelphia. When I acquired the company last May, obviously my residence is in South Florida. We did see an opportunity from a synergy perspective, as well as obviously bringing the firm back to where I live. And so we just recently made the move to Fort Lauderdale, and we'll be opening the offices up next week.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
And could you have picked a more hectic time to do this?
Yeah, well, the timing is amazing.
So we are now sitting. What's today's date? Wendy?
What is today's date?
What is it? The 19th. So it's the 19th of March, and I don't think any of us could have forecasted this is what the 19th would look like.
No, not you couldn't forecast where we are. In fact, we've been moving. We don't even know the date. So interesting times. And when you take a look at it, Joe, as I look at MRI and what we're trying to do, I love what you're doing, by the way, being a voice. So thank you for what you're doing in the marketplace with your team. But when I look at MRI and think about our internal team, and then we have to look at our overall network, a network of owners that have been very, very loyal and been great over the years, and right now are facing some interesting times. Many of them have never had a virtual scenario where they've had to adapt literally almost overnight. So we're trying to pave the way, provide calmness, along with being vigilant and being safe and taking the virus very, very seriously, while at the same time trying to help them keep their businesses moving forward. And so when we do come out on the other side, they have their businesses, they have their clients, they have the talent, and will be able to pick the pieces up, whatever the new normal happens to be then.
Yeah, and we talk about the other side. I had a CEO who was on the phone with me actually on a episode of The Other Side this morning from Boston, and his name is Harrell, and he said, look, as the businessman, I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking care of my team. I'm making sure they're safe. I'm also making sure that whenever this is over, and let's take June, July as a placeholder, I'm not starting from March 14th all over again. I'm looking at the things I can do in-house to keep us moving along, so when the other side declares itself, we aren't starting from 4 or 5 months ago.
Well, I mean, that's fundamentals, right? You're either moving forward or you're moving backward. And when you're stopped or you're in pause, you're definitely moving backward. So at the same point in time, we have to be responsible while making the moves and continue to move it forward as best we can day by day, so that you're not starting from scratch. And that's tough. I mean, at this point in time, we have people that are scared. We have people seeing opportunity. We have people obviously just hunkering down and want to take care of their families, and I don't think there's really a wrong answer depending on that individual, but we cannot stay still. We have to continue to move forward.
Yeah, and I believe that some of the advice I've given to my team, and certainly swallowed myself, is we've got a couple items we have to think about, and it's sort of a Venn diagram: is taking care of our family and taking care of our business and keeping it healthy and moving it forward, but also being super proactive in the way that you can right now. What are the tips? And I don't even think this climate can use the word tips because those seem so inconsequential. Right? What are the covenants? What are the must-dos right now moving forward? And let's for the audience,
Yeah.
because I don't want to worry about being politically correct in this conversation. I want to be giving people medicine respectfully with as much empathy as possible, but clarity of thought. What should we be doing moving forward?
Well, the first thing is obviously take care of your people and your families. But most importantly, we have some tips, for lack of a better term, that are coming out shortly. But most importantly, try to get to as much as normal as you can day by day wherever you're sitting. And for our organization, I don't think you can communicate enough. Some people need it, some people don't, but you cannot over communicate. Communicate for a lot of different reasons. One, to stay in touch. Two, to ensure that there's some progress or that you're able to provide some support. And then in some case, just to make people feel better about what they're doing and building confidence. The other thing is, look, this thing just came aboard. So we have offices around the world, and of course, they have new hires. And so the most difficult thing today is, how do you take care of your people, particularly your new folks, and how do you help them and prop them up so their confidence doesn't get broken any more than it already can in this industry?
Yeah, we've got 2 new hires that just started
Right.
On March 2nd. And for those that are making note of this, March 2nd is my birthday. On March 2nd, I'll give you the address to send the gifts to. And look, historically, and we bring people on a salary, in the first year. It's just
Likewise.
It's a move we make to get best talent. And, I've got 80% of my team right now remote. What I love, though, is my 2 newbies are sitting right there in the bullpen.
They're
right?
here.
But we're figuring out a way to do the training we would have done 90 days from their start date to now, right? And then build up around there. So I would say, look at your desk and your business as 3 different buckets. One bucket is the horizon, like the really long out stuff. And then the other bucket is right at the windshield. And then the third bucket is right on the dashboard of the dials. And manage your business that way. So I've had to pull some of the horizon activities into the dial zone with these individuals and touch base with them. And then one other thing I want to offer, because I want to give as many tactical things today to your audience, my audience, as possible. Communication. So couple things. One is, emails are great. They're fantastic. But after a while, they might feel like a form letter to the most intimate of relationships.
Exactly.
On the way in today at 6 a.m., I'm driving my car, and I'm thinking about my people like I always do. And what did I do? I took my iPhone, and I went to record, and I just told them what I was thinking of as a business owner, what I planned on executing today, and then what I'm thinking of tomorrow for them. I hit stop. I hit send. I hit the TMG, and now when they woke up this morning, they heard my voice.
Yeah, there's nothing more important than that, right? And so, especially when right now we are over communicating, what they need is your leadership. They need our leadership, and it resonates more with the human aspect versus getting caught up in textual form in terms of communication. We have to connect with people right now. They need to feel that, and they need to have that direction, and we need to build up their confidence and have them lead them, and so they actually know what they can do and how they can do it, and believe, more importantly, they can continue to support their families.
Yeah. So look, here's what I'm going to say is I have a very strong style on how I lead. Now I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to look right at the camera, I am also scared shit right now. And I'm proud to say that, because if you're not scared, you can't have courage. And so everybody's afraid right now. Just don't let that fear freeze you. Do not get the 1,000-yard stare. What you want to do is reduce that time from when that bullet whizzes by your ear, that you respond tactically as well as strategically.
There's no question. I mean, for anybody who is not scared, they're not being real or being honest with themselves. I think you used the exact word that I used in one of my posts, and I think it is freeze. If we freeze, going back to what I said earlier, we're either going to go backwards or you're going forwards. And we have to ensure that we can continue to respond when the opportunity provides us to respond, absolutely, without question.
Yeah. One of the other things that I mentioned to my team this morning, I want to share that with our listeners, is I am moving two ways right now. I am, first of all, making sure that home base is secure. We're reaching out to our landlords. We're reaching out to our partners and saying, I don't expect a pause in my ability to cover my commitments on expenses. But should I need to, I want to know we can have a conversation. I will keep you whole on the calendar year, but I might have to move that and pay that forward at a later time. But just be there for me, and I'm not going to spring this conversation on you.
Yeah, and from our perspective, we have that two different ways, right? So we have the MRI obligations. We have our network who have obligations to us for the services that we provide. And then there's a level, again, coming back to that word empathy, what's the best way, and I think it's going to have to be on a case-by-case basis, what's the best way that I can allow and help my network continue to grow and be in business, or certainly maintain until the market does come back.
Yeah, and we are going to have another side to this. And that other side, your customers are still going to be there. New customers are going to be there because there are going to be people who come out of this crisis maybe even stronger. And so now I'm going to go to the other side of the pendulum. I'm going to go to the marketing side. Here's what you can do. You don't even have to do a marketing spend. I mentioned this the other day. If you're in the headhunting business and you have a desk specialty, and I don't care if it's a category specialty or if it's a function specialty, you can, at no cost right now, while you're sitting in your home thinking about what to do, you can become two things. One is the news aggregator for your industry. Take the time every morning or every evening, over your scotch or your glass of milk, and go out there and get 30 or 40 of the top headlines that are relative to your industry, and just aggregate them for your audience and get them out there. Let them read their own Huffington Post information. Then the second thing you can do with the same lift, you can exercise and show your knowledge of the industry. Pick 5 of the top headlines, unwind those headlines for hiring and or job hunting insight, because we look at headlines entirely different than everybody else. And so post those out there, and you might get 1 like the first day, and you might get 15 the 20th day.
Man.
But you're going to build up this voice that when the other side declares itself, whatever it looks like, that nobody else is going to probably do.
No, that's powerful. I'm going to look at the camera right now. That's powerful information and that any firm can use. The other thing, Joe, I think, and you kind of alluded to it, but I want to talk more about that, is there was, and there will be pent-up demand. And if you think about it, if we're all going to continue to try to trickle along or grow or continue down the network of going forward, there's other opportunities as well. I mean, in some cases, some of these CEOs, they have to continue to get work done. There may be opportunities in the interim piece. There may be opportunities to take people that maybe they have to furlough, or maybe they have to even let go, that provide the talent. Perhaps what we can do is offer them a platform that allows them to move some of their talent that they already know, move them over into an interim basis, and we take them on. We payroll that for them, and allows them, as a back office, and allows them to continue to have flexibility and I guess nimbleness up or down how they want to spend versus getting the work done.
And brilliant. You know what I love about that is, so for those who are in decision-making roles but may not understand the quick math on that, on average, when you have an employee, you've got about a 25% added cost on that, meaning benefits, 401k, insurances, tax commitments, et cetera. And now as you move forward, wherever the other side of this is, you're going to start to look at your P&L, and it's not going to be the same P&L you dreamed up on January 1st.
People are looking at their P&Ls like they haven't looked at them in a while.
So one of the ways you can do is you can look at an employee and say, listen, Bob, I don't want to let you go, but what I want to do is I want to create a new relationship for a while, because I need to find 25%, and I don't want it to be your family. What I want to do is I've got this partner, MRI, or Protus, or TMG, whatever it is, and they've got the way for us to bridge this for the next 9 months. And I'm going to move you to an interim relationship, a contract relationship. Nothing's going to change. You're going to keep your job, but I need to find a way to carve that 25% off the balance sheet and keep you as part of this family? Can we have that conversation? When you become the
Yeah,
service
solutions.
provider, man, now you're not a headhunter.
No.
You're access to talent and access to solutions.
And we have some outstanding offices in our network that are doing a great job in the contract staffing world, or the interim world, whatever language you want to use here. And what an opportunity for them. But more importantly, the solution, right? I mean, we've talked about this before, and the world of work is changing dramatically. We have 160 million people working in the U.S., and 65% of them are on the perm side, which is a big chunk of what we all do. And 35% is on the interim side, and the interim side is growing. The direct side, or perm side, is shrinking and converging with that. And now what this has done is given us an opportunity to play in the full circle. It gives us an opportunity to take to our clients and partners solutions and help a lot of folks that may be more transactional in the way they're doing their business to actually being a partner with their firms and bringing solutions.
Look, we're seeing this all over the world right now, and there's analogs right in front of us, right? The analogs being, think about the food service business, the restaurant business. That's got to be a challenging business to be in because, look, that relies on a tremendous amount of trust across the board. Trust to get in your car. Trust to go sit in front of somebody who's got a sterilized environment right now. Trust that the person who's carrying that plate to your table to be not infected, right? So, but now what they're doing is doing takeout, right? And so that presents itself as an analog for all businesses, not just the restaurant business or sort of the talent access business, but start reimagining what your business may want to start, not instead of, but in addition to. So you want to think about staying in your core competency and broaden your swim lane. And it's baby steps in the beginning, but you know what? You've got probably another 120 to 180 days to start reimagining what that additional yardage on your swim lane looks like. Lean into MR, lean into Bert, lean into his team to help you just think that through. You might not pull the trigger tomorrow, but at least you're going to bed at night staring at the ceiling, thinking about possibilities to get another gulp of air that you're going to need, rather than just saying, this is it, I'm screwed.
Right, and the other path that you took was the marketing aspect. The first thing people will do is pull back. There's nothing more important, and again, that's really what I love what you're doing right now. You're being a voice in the med tech field for the executives and the companies in your space, which is awesome. I think though, the more you continue to push, you can be a voice for our industry, and I think that's really why we're here today. Together, we have to continue to be a voice and continue to educate our folks how to, using your terms, lean into more marketing and not being afraid. Going back to the point with your iPhone today, not only are you creating that communication for your internal team, but how do you take that to the next level and communicate to your vertical?
Yeah, and your market is looking for content right
Without
now,
question.
right? So again, just another aside story similar to what we're talking about. Part of my production team, we're plugged into cinema and sports and network TV and network sports. And one of the partners was in the office this week, and he showed me his phone. He's like, over 150 different programs and productions have been shut down in the entertainment business. So where's that content coming from? And the same thing is happening in our industry. Large corporations, small corporations are shutting down their operations. And where is that voice going to come from now that you have all these eyes on a screen as they're home on LinkedIn or Facebook? So now you've got the opportunity to step up and create a voice, but be careful making sure that you stay within, right? Let baby steps.
Yeah, your own tone, your own persona.
But the safe one is, here, take this home. Aggregate the headlines, serve them up every day, and don't do it for a day, a week, a month. Do it. And then at night, unwind the headlines. Here, you get two uses out of this. One is you become a service to the people who are looking for a voice. And more importantly, you're going to be doing G2, information gathering, for where your business may expand to as we come out the other side of this.
Yeah, and without question. And how many people today have been thinking about how do I do this, right? Or they're afraid. Maybe they're afraid to film themselves and talk and post that. for the world to see. There is no better time to overcome that fear. There's no better time to try to be your voice. And Joe just gave some incredible advice about how you can do that or start the process of doing that. There's no better time to do that because you're going to need to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you, as we slide out of here, what words do you want to give to your network? What words do you want to give to other recruiters out in the world, and just to business owners in general, Bert?
Yeah, I mean, to my network, I'm grateful. I mean, I really am. They have been so, I've been here 8 months. They have received me in such an awesome way. They've been very supportive. They've been advocates of what we're trying to get done. And then during this time, I'm very grateful for them and what they're doing and what they're about to do. So I really want to thank them more than anything. And to the industry, I think the industry, there's an opportunity. The one thing I do love about our network and that I find that's unique, Joe, is that we have a community. And we have all these independent firms right now today that have friends, they have groups that they're part of, but do they have a community? And I want them to have that kind of a community. And so hopefully they have somebody they can turn to. And then finally, man, just take care of yourself, take care of your folks, and communicate and continue and not sit still.
Yeah. I would agree. And again, being sensitive to the crisis we're in right now, and I mentioned it this morning online, look, the odds of you contracting this virus and getting critically ill are a very, very, very low percentage, and we need to be vigilant. The odds of you coming out the other side of this and having all those things waiting for you, your financial commitments, your team, your family, and your dreams, are 100%. Act accordingly.
Without question. It's great advice.
I'm Joe Mullings from 190 Studios. Thanks to my guest today, my brother, Bert Miller. See y'all soon.